Hi everyone, we're here directly from the Developers Conference in São Paulo, Brazil, and we are here at the Mentorship Speaker and Career Mentorship Room, and our objective here is to help you and answer some of your questions. So you can go on the chat and below or whatever platform you are in, you can just reply and then we can follow up. So if you have any questions, you can talk a little bit with us here. We're going to talk today about 3 questions that I got. So on Twitter last week, a couple of weeks ago, I asked what is the biggest challenge that speakers are having, in their presentation events. And so we had several questions. There is a thread on Twitter that you can go and see all the answers and all the questions if you want. But today we're going to talk about 2 different things that people are talking about. Andres said that he forgot to say important things, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. And also, Ihor said that he stuttered, and that's probably making him give up on public speaking. So I'm going to talk about this too. And yesterday we actually had a conversation with one of the persons that I respect most, and he was talking about soft skills versus hard skills. And I think this is an important discussion because a lot of people kind of say, oh yes, speaking is a soft skill that developers should learn. I know developers just want to do hard skills, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. And so you know what soft skills are and what hard skills are, so we can get this discussion going in the right direction. Okay, so let's get started then. Andres says that he forgets to say things, and so Andres, let me tell you one thing, that's not very important, okay? I understand that sometimes we may forget to say something, or we may skip something that we wanted to say, or maybe there's a story that we want to talk about and we forgot to mention it. And it's normal, right? It is very normal that you forget to say things in your presentation. Your presentation, it's not supposed to be a memorized step by step. It's exactly what you want to say, right? Your presentation actually is a conversation. A presentation is a conversation. You're talking with people. You're looking at their feedback, right? Even here, there's lots of people who might be watching this, and I don't see their face. I'm thinking here, what are the questions you have in your mind, right? So right now, you might be thinking, well, Bruno, how can I do this in a video? That's what I'm doing exactly right now. I'm thinking about your possible questions and answering them. So a presentation is a conversation. In this particular case, we have some people here at the room that I'm looking at them, and I can see if they're understanding, if they're following or not. So presentation is a conversation. If you're having a conversation with people, and you're talking about something, and you look at their faces, right, and they're like, "What is this guy talking about?" Right, and you can see that they're missing something. And then you can go back, you can say, okay, so I see you're not you don't even need to say it, but you know it, right? I see you guys are not understanding something. Maybe I skipped something. So let me go back. Let me kind of summarize what I said, summarize what I did, so you can get people back on track. And, a lot of times you might be worried, oh, I forgot to say this important thing, and that was terrible. But let me tell you one thing here. Presentations, people don't remember your presentation anyway, right? The truth is, you're only going to be able to put on a presentation and put in words, right? Put in graphics about 80% of what you want to say, right? So right there, Andres, you're already going to be not putting things even before you start presenting, right? So you're just going to be able to put about 80% of what you want to say. People only hear about 70% of what you say and understand only 60% of what they hear, right? So, there's a lot of missing pieces right there. And after 5 hours, people can only remember about between 10 to 20% of what they understood. Okay, so there's a big gap in what you want to say, right, and what people actually understand or remember for a presentation. So don't worry too much, Andres. A lot of things that you're gonna forget to say things, but you're gonna forget what you already actually said. So with that, how does a presentation even work then if people remember so little? Well, because a presentation, it's what you're going to say is not the most important, right? The presentation doesn't do anything for people unless they take action. If your presentation doesn't help people take action, nothing's going to happen. So if people take action on your presentation, then your presentation is successful. If they don't take action, then nothing happened for them. And if nothing happened for them, nothing happened for you either. So think about what is the action you want people to take in a presentation. What is the thing that you want them to do with the information, right? How they can do a little step, and that little step can change their lives. If you're able to help people do this step, right? Do this activity, then what's going to happen is that your presentation will be worthwhile. Even if they forget some things, even if you forget to say something, but if people take action, then that's going to be a great presentation, because a little step is going to go a long way for them to actually have some result. So think about, if you don't know what action that you want people to take in your presentation, then that 10%, right, or 20% is going to be totally by chance. Maybe some people are going to remember your jokes. Maybe some other people are going to remember your code. Some other people are going to remember a nice graphic that you did. And what you want them to remember is what action they need to take, right? So if you prepare your presentation in a way that you help people remember the action, even if they forget some things, that's okay. Okay, Andre, so don't worry too much about if you forget to say things, but if you think about what action I want people to take and you help them remember the action, then your presentation is going to be very helpful, because that little action is going to be a step forward in getting people to change their lives and have transformation in their lives. Okay? So that's about forgetting things. Ihor says, I stutter. And, Ihor, for a long time, I didn't speak English well, right? I've got some very good friends here from Brazil. They're great speakers that travel around the world speaking, and their English is terrible, right? So that's a lot worse than stuttering. And, you sound like a child, right? You make mistakes, and so that's not a problem. If you stutter, Igor, but you can keep going, that's not a problem. Okay, really, it's not. And, we all have this kind of things, and that's okay, right? I'm not a specialist in stuttering, so I don't know exactly what kind of things you can do to help with that. But one thing that I know is that I have all these feeling words. Right? I say right a lot, for example. So one tip is that if you slow down, if you speak slower, once you speak slower, you're going to use less filler words. Maybe helps with stuttering also. But even if it doesn't help, because, for example, I keep speaking fast and I keep putting filler words, I keep doing this. Even if it doesn't help, that's okay. There's important things in our field, in technology fields. A lot of speakers are bad speakers, but they have great content. Because of that, you can be a very well recognized and successful speaker in the technology world by being a good speaker or by having a good content. Both things work in our fields, because since a lot of speakers have great content, but they're not good speakers, people agree, oh well, having a great content is great. I love it. It helps me move forward. And also, because a lot of these speakers are not great speakers, when you have a great speaker, even if his content is not amazing, right, you enjoy it, because it is a refreshing speaker in the middle of lots of speakers that are not very good. So you can do, so you say that you stutter, that in your mind, that may make you a bad speaker, right? But if you you have great content, even though you don't speak very well, your content is great, people are going to love it anyway. Okay, so that's another thing. Also, Ihor, there's a lot of ways that you can present things, right? I'm always only talking about presentation here, okay? But I'm just going to talk about other things in a minute. But even on presentations, there's a lot of ways that you can present great content, even without speaking much, right? You know, I mean, you can use amazing graphics. You can use codes, right? Most of the things you can say, you can use code. You can have things written, and then help people kind of move along by having things written, even in a presentation, right? So there's all kinds of other ways that you can present that can reduce the amount of things that you have to say, and then that still can be a very, very entertaining conversation. Okay, so if you stutter too much and you can't keep going, because there are people that have very severe speech disorders, that you can't continue, right? There's no way you can actually have a conversation. Well, there's other ways of sharing. The most important thing here is not presenting. Presenting is just one way of sharing. And sharing will change your career. Sharing will get your career in the best position ever. But you don't have to share just by speaking. You can share by writing. You can do emails, you can do articles, you can do you can do video where you have words in the video, but the video itself is not of you speaking, right? I just did this a few days ago. I used this tool called InVideo, where I did a video. There's just kind of things written in the video, and so the video has a video just kind of a background, but the information is on text, right? So you can do this. You can do articles. You can do books. You can do Twitter. You can do Facebook. I mean, there's lots of things you can do that's written work. And so if sharing for you as a speaker, as a presentation, is very hard, you can still share in other different ways. And that sharing is still going to be very valid, still going to be as powerful as your presentation in terms of growing your career, right? There's a guy that I follow, and I think that his work is amazing. There's a guy called John Morrow. And John, he has a severe physical disability. He moves very little of his body. I think that he types his blog by blowing on a tube, right? So he's very severe. So it's a lot worse than your stuttering ear, right? He can't really move around, right? But even then, he is, he has millions and millions and millions of viewers and readers from his blog, right? So I suggest you take a look at this. And so if speaking, it's not an option for you for any reason, there's other ways for you to share. And, you can make money, you can grow your career, you can be very respected, you can influence people. There's a lot of things that can happen for you even if you don't speak. Okay? So that's an option for you. Now, one thing that every time that we talk about speaking, we have this discussion, right? That's the discussion we were having yesterday at night here at the developers conference, and we had a friend of mine that I respect a lot. He was talking about the importance of developers to create the soft skills, right? Oh, you have to have the soft skills to do presentation. You have to have soft skills to write things, right? So developers have to understand that they have to do soft skills, right? And then the whole discussion went on this way, and he was even talking about soft skills. We should reverse that, right? Because the things that are hard to do are the ones that we don't know. So those the soft skills should be the harder ones. And then let me explain to you guys what hard skills and soft skills are, because I see a big confusion in our field of what soft skills and hard skills are. And then And because we have this big confusion, we are afraid of soft skills. Okay, so here's the thing. Hard skills are not hard because they're difficult. They're not hard because they're technical. They're not hard because they are, it's hard to learn. Hard skills are hard because they are precise, right? The hard skills come from precision. They are precision skills, okay? So, what is a hard skill? And it has nothing to do with being technical, by the way. It's thing on your brain. Hard skills and soft skills are on your brain. It's the way you learn them. It's the way you practice them. It's not about the skill itself, okay? So a hard skill is a precise skill. So you can't do it differently. The way for you to learn and practice a hard skill is repeat. Repetition until you get the precision that's necessary for the hard skill. For example, playing a guitar, right? Playing a guitar is a hard skill. You can't play the strings any way you want. You have to play in a precise piece, right? It's 1 centimeter difference. Then the whole thing goes, it's a different sound, right? So it is a hard skill because it's precise. If you play a violin, 1 millimeter to one side, I don't play violin, so I don't know exactly, but 1 millimeter to one side of the neck or the other, you have a different sound. Okay, so for you to play the violin perfectly, you have to practice and be very, very precise. That's what a hard skill is. It's a precision skill. So for example, in your coding, what is a hard skill? A hard skill is typing on the keyboard, right? The more precise your fingers move, the faster you can type. So that's a hard skill. A programming language, it's a hard skill. You can't just do the programming language any way you want, right? When you type the words in a programming language, it has to be precise, it has to be exact. You can't just type more or less, system.out, right? You can't just write a little bit. It has to be precise, exact, okay? So this is a hard skill. Okay, a soft skill, it's not soft because it's easy. A soft skill, it's soft because it's malleable, because it's fuzzy, because it's not precise. That's why it's soft. Okay, so a soft skill, you don't do it every time the same way. A soft skill varies. Every time you apply the soft skill, it varies. It depends on the situation. It depends on what you're doing. A soft skill is pattern matching. You see a pattern and you apply a different way. You see a pattern and you do a little bit different. Okay? So a soft skill is malleable. So because it's malleable, how do you learn a soft skill? How do you practice a soft skill? In multiple different situations, in multiple different patterns, because you have to understand the different patterns, right? So think about it. You have to recognize a pattern. You have to think, a situation and apply a different strategy to solve that situation. What is this? It's software development. Software development is a soft skill because it's never the same thing. It's never the same strategies. You change the way you're doing. You adapt. You modify, right? You do something, then you refactor to improve it. You don't get the exact way the same way, right? It's different than, for example, you hitting a ball on golf, right? Hitting a ball on golf is a hard skill. It's a precise movement. The better the movement is, once you hit the ball is gone, man. There's no fixing, no adjusting, no improving. You just hit the ball and it's gone. So either you hit it perfectly or it's gone. Software development is not a hard skill, right? You do something, it works more or less, and then you improve it, you refactor, you adjust. It's a soft skill, right? So everything that you do in your life It's a mixture of soft skill and hard skills. So don't be worried, don't be afraid of speaking, because speaking is a soft skill. You know how to do soft skills because you are a software developer. Your biggest thing that you do in your life is about developing, and it's a soft skill. So be okay with soft skills in general. Okay? Makes sense? We got a question from the audience here.
Okay. Normally, the HR people here, mostly, why they do the confusion? Because always, when you are having some evaluation, even in the company here, why they make some confusion? Always they told us, that you need to improve your soft skill as a communication,
Right.
the relationship between soft skills are always with HR people with communication.
There's a lot of confusion on this whole thing about soft skill and hard skills. So I want you guys to understand what really are soft skills and hard skills. Okay, so everyone assumes that soft skills equal communications. So let me tell you this: communications in general are soft skills, but soft skills is not communication. Those are not the same thing. For example, on communications, there are hard skills and soft skills, right? For example, voice control. When you're able to speak very low, and then you talk very loud because you wanna get people close to you, so you talk very soft. Or you talk loud because you want people to pay attention, right? That voice control is a hard skill, right? You control your voice perfectly. Not me, because my voice is not great, but a singer, for example, has a perfect control of his or her voice. So voice control is a hard skill. It's a hard skill, not a soft skill. So part of the communication, there are a lot of hard skills, they're part of the communication. And there's a lot of soft skills, they're part of the communication. There's a lot of hard skills, they're part of software development. There's a lot of soft skills, they're part of software development. So any skills that you have, anything that you do in your life, it's a mixture of soft and hard skills. So let's get over this fear, or get over this idea that, we developers, we're not very good at soft skills. You are amazing at soft skills, right? But soft skills for your profession. And I think that once you understand that speaking on a conference or writing an article is a soft skill because it varies by context. So now you can apply everything that you do on software development to your speaking, to your writing, right? Because it's the same kind of skill, right? So you know that when you write something, it doesn't need to be perfect. You can adjust later. When you speak, it doesn't need to be perfect, it doesn't need to be memorized, because you're going to be an interaction with the audience, right? So speaking is like coding. You try something, people react, you adjust, you adapt. You see? So let's be not afraid of soft skills. Let's actually use speaking as a way to improve our software development, because it is, right? It is a great way for you to do this. Okay? So that's my message for today. Every day we're recording a little bit. So today's the last day of the developers conference, right? But I'm going to try to do this more often, kind of do this live discussion more often. So if you want to participate on this, you can follow me on Twitter, PRJavaman on Twitter. Actually, I can write this down here. Okay? So I can write this down. I'm at PRJavaman on Twitter. You can follow me there, and so we can work together on your skills, on your abilities, and if you want to share what you know is the thing that's going to completely change your life, completely change your career. So the more you do, doesn't matter if it's presentation or writing or Twitter or blog posts or podcast or whatever it is that you want to do, or screencasts, right? You can also do screencasts. There's all kinds of different ways of sharing. If you do this, it's definitely going to be very helpful for your career. And so, you're discussing this directly from the mentorship, the speaker and career mentorship room here at the developer conference in São Paulo, Brazil. I hope to see you at this event sometime in the future. Thanks very much for being here with us. And next time I do a live recording like this, it's going to be outside of these events. It's going to be for something else. Okay? Thanks very much. I see you. Thank you.